Greetings to you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on the show. Tonight is the first one for the week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, on the show tonight, we'll talk about the English Premier League. We'll talk about Nigeria's preparation for the forthcoming Olympics. We'll also take a look at the Laureus Awards. Novak Djokovic in the news. Jude Bellingham in the news. Aitana Bomati also in the news. All right, so that's the outlook of the show. And we will not forget to talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. It's a two-man show. My colleague, Austin Okonakpan, is suited and ready, and we're taking you on this trip together.
Sport greetings to you, and of course, everyone joining us on the show tonight. Still an action-packed world of sports right here in England. We're monitoring that London derby between Arsenal and Chelsea. Half-time, the Gunners lead by a single goal, courtesy of that early goal scored in the fourth minute by Leandro Trossard, who seems to be having a fantastic run of form for the Gunners. Can Arsenal hold on to the win? Yeah, it's looking that way, but this is football where anything can happen. I'll be giving you live updates from the Emirates tonight on the program.
All right, let's introduce our guest in the Lagos studio. Damilola Onifade joins us now. Damilola, greetings to you. Thanks for being here again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being here. My first time on a Tuesday.
All right. All right. Well, we're going to start differently on the show tonight. And trust us, we know you're concerned about the London derby. Our man, Austin Okonakpan, right there, will be letting us know what's going on. But first, we want to start the show a bit differently. We're going to talk about para-badminton. And I know it's something you follow closely. Let's talk about para-badminton star Eniola Bolaji. Of course, she's won the women's singles title at the Spanish tournament in Victoria. I'm going to go across just to talk about it and talk about the import of this. I'm very sure Damilola has a few words to say. We must say that that victory has ended something that is very vital and crucial to the Olympics. And there you have it on the screen. Bolaji wins women's single SL3 title in Spain. And the import of this is that she's world number 10 and she's already qualified for the Olympics.
Fantastic, fantastic. Stories like this, it's a major encouragement that there is, like they say, there is ability in disability. And to go as far as Spain to get this title, I mean, it's just heartwarming. And also, there is also a bonus beyond the title getting to the Olympics itself. Although the Paralympics is quite different from, but it is an Olympics. That's their own event, and it's a total package. Again, you can't talk about stories like this without emphasizing our need for proper investment in sports. Because the moment you leave that out, we are really not talking Nigerian sport anymore. Because these things should not come in trickles. We have the capacity to excel almost on a daily basis for every tournament we participate in, but we just do not have the right investment. And we also, I'm able to say, we also don't make the right decision in terms of administration.
And we stumble into success.
Usually, that's why we can't repeat it.
That's why we can't repeat, because if there's a structure that ensures you succeed, you keep repeating it. Look, I'm going to hook up with Austin now. I'm very sure I can say what Austin is going to say. I know the words he's going to use. We sound like a broken record because we've said these things many times. But we'll try our best not to allow what we are saying overshadow this amazing feat achieved by this athlete. But just like Damilola said, these things should not be coming in trickles.
Totally agree, and each time we talk about the need to support athletes is because they require all the support that we can give them. And we've seen it time and time again that when they have an opportunity to represent the country, they give it 100%. What I like this from badminton is they seem to be consistent with para-badminton. So shout out to the Federation for giving us an opportunity to not just only talk about para-badminton, but also talk about the stars, behind all of these victories. Maybe now, if you talk about badminton in Nigeria, it's Anu Oluwapo Peyori, the #1 player in Africa, that comes to mind, and is an able athlete. He has done so well. He has qualified for the Olympics. But tonight, we're talking about Miriam Eniola. So good to talk about Eniola, not just winning in Spain, but that she's also qualified for the Paralympics. Now, the sweet part of this win, she's ranked number 10 in that category, in the world. She defeated our opponent from Ukraine, who is ranked number 6. Now, I'll tell you this. Someone would just look at it that maybe Eniola did it out of her talent, but I know because I've lived in England for 3 years now. I know the level of attention they give power sports in Europe. Our opponent is from Ukraine that gets all of the attention. But let's not even talk about who she defeated in that Ukrainian to win gold. Let's talk about her roots towards the final. She defeated an opponent, I think Victoria Bailey, from England. She defeated another opponent from Bulgaria. Makes me want to tell people again that Nigeria is a talent that is so blessed, so rich in human resources, and it's just administration that we need to get right. And that's why I want to give the Badminton Federation of Nigeria their flowers tonight for giving us an opportunity to celebrate Miriam Eniola. And I hope that they will do more. And I hope that the Ministry of Youth of Sports Development will assist them. That's why each time I have an opportunity to speak to the minister, I'll keep reminding him that you're the Minister of Sports Development. When you talk about development, a good place to start, aside the grassroots, is with power sports, because with those guys, they don't just participate. They use the power of sports to inspire, motivate, and change lives.
All right. Interesting. I hope to see more of those things. We hope that we'll keep repeating success. All right, let's move on now. It's time to go to Italy and talk about something amazing that Inter has done. I mean, it doesn't happen too often when you win against your rivals and everything is confirmed there and there. 20th Scudetto for Internazionale, a good one after defeating AC Milan 2-1. Hill-tempered game it was, but nobody remembers all of that. There were 3 red cards in that game, but who cares? Who cares anymore? Inter have won this. And what we hear, Damilola, is that the game they were supposed to play midweek, they've shifted it to Sunday. They won a full parade. They won their title celebrations to be in grandstand. But since after, they got the job done.
Fantastic one for Inter. I mean, at some point this season, I think as at December, January, you knew it was going to happen. It's a case of when, not if it will. It's happening was confirmed. This became a bit more special because it's at the same venue that they use for home ground, even though Milan was playing at home yesterday, but it's at the same San Siro. And how else do you want to beat Milan to this title other than to beat them at that ground and at the same time actually go ahead of them? They were both on 19 wins before yesterday's win, and then they confirmed their 20th, now lining just behind Juve. Bragging right of the city in their favor, bragging right of the year in their favor. And I think it just shows sometimes as well, while in football we should, and sport generally, we should be patient because at some point this season there were a lot of criticism against Inzaghi in terms of his style and approach, but then he has shown consistently. Don't forget, this team got to the final of the UEFA Champions League. They could have won it against Man City. Yes, Man City has a little hedge, but then all it takes is just one goal and Man City might not have come back from that game. So kudos to Inter Milan for what they've achieved. The last time they won it is a few years ago when Antonio Conte
was in charge.
Won it. And before Antonio Conte was also a big gap. I think the last coach would be Mourinho before Conte. But at least this time they didn't have to wait that long before their 20th title.
All right. Just like Damilola said, the only club apart from these 2 Milan outfits that is on that level is Juventus. On the strength of this title, Inter will now have 2 stars on the jersey. You get 1 star for 10 titles. Now they've made it 20. They're going to have 2 stars, and that's what they're going to have over their rivals. And I'm very sure Inter will milk it for all they can get. So, I mean, Austin, what else can we say? I mean, it was a good contribution from someone like Marcus Thuram, for instance. He's been praising Thierry Henry for all the help he's received. He said he talks to Henry even more than his dad. But then the coach, the players, well-deserved.
I totally agree with you, Yemi. I'm talking about Henry. Let's talk about his former club, where he is a legend and is celebrated. It's now Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. Ben White just scored the second goal for the Gunners. Let's go back to Inter Milan. Fantastic display by Inter Milan to win their second Serie A title in 4 seasons. And what a way to do it. They won it with 5 games to spare. I think 17 points clear of AC Milan. They've been showing us since last season that they are that kind of team that we can get talking about them. Maybe if you take off goalkeeper Andre Onana, they were able to sustain the bulk of the team that did magic at last year's UEFA Champions League. So Inter Milan, well-deserved title. I'm just waiting to see what they can do next season. You know, can they keep the bulk of the team? Can they go on to get us talking? Because this season they totally bust the Serie A, and they made it look so easy. And we even forgot about Napoli and all of the things that they did last season. You know, so congratulations to Inter Milan on winning their second Scudetto title in 4 seasons.
All right, there have been talks about, I mean, you're closer to, you know, to Italy than we are. There have been talks about things happening outside of the football pitch, the organization. There's a bit of trouble in Paradise. Do you see all of these issues affecting them next season? Because everything looks primed for them to continue their dominance. Juve doesn't look like they're going to recover from their slumber. I don't see Napoli coming back. I don't see AC Milan in the mix. So if those 3 are not in the mix, we should get ready for dominance from Inter. But a lot of people have cautioned and said, look, there's something wrong in the setup.
I don't think so, yeah. I mean, and a major milestone to consider if you want to achieve stability is victory. Now, with this victory, they could be saying to themselves, yeah, can we be that Inter Milan that we used to be in Italian football with everything, as you mentioned, that is happening with Juve? But I spoke to a friend in Italy who said, look, there's also AC Milan. By the way, if AC Milan had won that game, that was why it was so feisty, because if AC Milan had won, they would have delayed the celebration. AC Milan also was very decent last season, remember, in the UEFA Champions League. I think this season also made that run to the quarterfinals in the Europa before losing the way they did against Roma, another Italian team. So now, I mean, there are about 4 teams that need to bounce back next season. They need to get it right. There's Juve, there's Napoli, there's Roma, and there's AC Milan. So I think with Italian football, we know that there's so much politics happening on the ground, you know. But for AC Milan, Inter Milan rather, they'll just say to themselves, now, we are champions, we have the momentum, we're not doing badly, they're going to get more revenue. If they sell players now, the players will be of more value. If they're buying players to consolidate. And the big milestone for them to achieve is the UEFA Champions League. See how they can win it. So all of those politics in the background can also be a distraction. So they would want to try everything possible to stay focused, ignore it, try to get as best as possible the good mentions in the media just to dissociate yourself from all of those guys who are suffering, because that's what it takes to keep winning. You need that mentality going. You need some good publicity going also, and the players need to understand the assignment. Now, they've won the Scudetto. They got to the finals of the UEFA Champions League last season. I think for them, keep bossing the Italian Serie A and see if they can win the UEFA Champions League.
All right, that's it. We're about to move on. But just let's quickly tell you the update that Austin gave in the London Derby currently going on. It is Arsenal and Chelsea. It is Arsenal 2, Chelsea 0. Just to react.
Yeah, it's just 3-0 now.
It's, all right, all right.
Kai Havertz just got the 3rd goal for Arsenal. So Arsenal seem to be roasting Chelsea at the Emirates. The Gunners really need this one to keep the title chase going, and I think they're giving it that sort of approach. Arsenal 3, Chelsea 0.
This was a game a lot of people said they were going to lose, so it's not happening. All right. I mean, just as I spoke, goal came in. All right. I'm trying not to smile. All right, let's move on the show. I'm trying to keep a straight face. I have a job to do, so I'll keep a straight face. Let's talk about the Laureus Awards. That's our next spot of call. Awards. And of course, these awards, you can have your views, but I think at this point, with the awards, a lot of people are in agreement. So I'll just quickly go across and allow Damilola to, talk about some of the awards, if he agrees, if he doesn't. All right, Laureus Ward's Sportsman of the Year, Novak Djokovic, okay? Laureus Ward Sportswoman of the Year, Aitana Bonmati. I mean, you really can't say anything about that Spanish women's national team. Very integral contribution to that. Laureus Ward Team of the Year, the Spain's women's football team. All right, so let's see some other awards. Laureus Ward Breakthrough of the Year Award, Jude Bellingham. I don't think anybody's going to argue about that. Laureus Ward Comeback of the Simone Biles. Surely, I agree with that 100%. Laureus Sports for Good Award, the Rafa Nadal Foundation. Before I yield to Austin, Damilola, let me just get your thoughts. Any of those awards, I mean, our personal opinion do not count. The awards have been given, but it's always good to weigh in on some of this. Novak Djokovic, Best Sportsman.
I agree. I thought Messi probably would push him close, and the Messi hype is just because of the MLS move and the way he stormed the league. But overall, I think there is really no question there. Novak Djokovic had a fantastic year after the previous very difficult year with the issue with Australia.
The way he bounced back.
And then the way he bounced back. I mean, just showed that class is always permanent, particularly when you're a top player.
Aitana Bonmati.
No question.
Jude Bellingham.
Who else will compete with that? Who else? Tell me the person that
And the national team.
I mean, the national team, yes, I think for me, and that's probably the most credible of all the awards. I use that word very carefully. And the reason is this. Nobody thought the Spanish team would win that World Cup. We knew that the Spanish football team will always come with a lot of guys, but a lot of people have put the English, the Germans ahead of them. Possibly even Japan at some point in the course of the tournament. But the way they went about it, despite the controversy leading to the tournament, and the shine of the World Cup has even been taken away by the controversy after it.
The money issue, yeah.
So I think that's just it.
All right.
Really, none for me, none to argue about.
All right, nothing to argue about, 100%. I'm on the same page with Damilola. But let's yield to Austin before Austin makes us listen to Novak Djokovic. These awards, nobody is raising hell about whether or not a person or a team is deserving of these awards.
Yeah, we will if the awards go to people that probably are less deserving of it, or we expect somebody to win it and then someone else is announced. I mean, Novak Djokovic and everything he has done with his tennis career is beyond just winning. He's a model for the sports, and he's winning it for the 5th time, so no question about that. Jude Bellingham, England, and we've been celebrating him, just 20 years old, helped Real Madrid to, move closer to the La Liga title, scored the winning goal to take his tally to 17 goals this season. You need to hear the way this young man speaks and the leadership he commands, helped Real Madrid again to score he's converted his penalty in the Champions League to keep Real Madrid's relevance in the UEFA Champions League. So Jude Bellingham for us in the United Kingdom, everyone is celebrating him, seen as a model for grassroots sports development. He can champion the change that we want to see amongst young persons, and I think he's worthy of all of the praises that he's been getting. Let's listen to some reactions coming out of the Laureus Awards tonight.
When we draw the line and see what's happening in the world today with wars and division in the society, which is crazy, and sport is one of the rare, I would say, areas of the society that really brings people together of different culture and traditions and nations. So, yeah, I just really hope that sport will continue to grow and continue to affect young people in a positive way. I'm preparing myself, my body, to be ready for, particularly for Roland Garros, Wimbledon, Olympic Games, US Open. That's the block that is most important block of the tournaments of the year for me.
All right, welcome back. It's time to come home now and talk about football on the domestic scene. Nigeria Premier Football League is our next port of call. Go across the screen in a bit to show you the results. And, of course, we'll talk about some of the things happening, the teams that might drop, the teams that might get the opportunity to, of course, play on the continent, possibly win the league. Lobby Stars probably will be biting themselves. Opportunity lost. If they had won, they probably would be in second position now, of course, after Imba played a draw. All right, so let's just quickly talk about it. And there you have it. Kwara United beats Aqua United 1-0. We're looking at, of course, match date. Okay, we'll fix it later on. Rivers United, of course, beats Rangers 2-0. Katsina United beats Sporting Lagos 2-0. Sunshine Stars and the Aba Elephants, I talked about this one, played a 1-1 draw. Lobby Stars, fluffed the opportunity to be in second position, played a goalless draw with Bendel Insurance at home. Kano Pillars hammered, was a hammering Gombe United 4-0. Niger Tornadoes beat Doma United 2-1. Plateau United beat Remo Stars, and this has taken Remo Stars off the top four in that one. Heartland, and this one, of course, also affected 3SC. They're now in the 6th position. So Heartland, the Naza Millionaires, whether or not it's going to be enough to keep them in the top flight, we do not know. We'll wait to see what happens. Abia Warriors are also defeated Bayelsa United 1-0. All right, but let's start from the top. You were here with us last week, and the game we all picked out was Rivers United, Rangers. And it did turn out that Rivers United won that game. On the strength of that game, they've pushed up a little from that precarious position in the bottom. Of course, we expect them to. But your reaction to that result, as we see some of the clips, well-deserved win for Rivers?
Well-deserved win, and bad news for every team around that relegation spot, because what it means is it becomes a platform. Don't forget that Rivers United still have about 6 games
to play.
After this weekend, the league is actually going to go on a mini break for them to play all those 6 games, which means others will not have the time. Everybody is now looking at Rivers and how well they will do in those 6 games to determine where they will be by the time we resume for the last.
The position will change because of Rivers without playing.
Without playing, it will change. And then there is these 6 other games to now end the season. So it's a very good platform for them. If they've dropped points in that one, because it's a home game, it might have made the next few weeks for them a bit difficult. So they've given themselves a very good platform to run. For Rangers, the only downside is the fact that Imba went away and picked a point and then closed up the margin a little bit. Sad news for Shooting Stars, who couldn't take advantage. Lobby Stars also did themselves a lot of favor. Didn't do themselves the kind of favor you would expect by not winning against. But it's a very interesting set of results, and one that makes the league as interesting as it's been all season. I look forward to that latter part of the season, very competitive, because Rivers United must come off this table. I mean, you can't play on I'm saying must, not as if it's their birthright, but you can't play on the continent back to back, and then you are that low in the next season.
We've talked about it. Today probably may not be a day to talk about, but we've talked about how teams go on the continent, they crash out of the tournament on the continent, and they're struggling to get back to the position that took them to the continent. It's a problem that probably needs to be sorted out. But Austin, your reaction to some of the things. Maybe I should just quickly take a look at the table, because we have it right there on screen. And Damlola has already talked about the Rangers leading, followed by the Aba Elephants, Lobby Stars, and Plateau United. Rangers with 54 points, a goal difference of 13. And you look at the bottom 4, Bayelsa United, Aqua United, Heartland, and Gombe. I mean, if it stays this way, I mean, it's curtains for all of these teams. No excuse, because they've all played 31 matches. So, I mean, just 7 matches left to salvage something from this season for all these teams. And I don't know. I don't know who to bet against of this one. I'm not a betting person anyway. So, I mean, I'll see your thoughts quickly on this one before we move on. Any surprises for you over the weekend?
I think Remo Stars, before I get into the Nigeria Premier League, by the way, it's now Arsenal 4, Chelsea 0. Kai Havertz just got his brace, picked his spot so well, and finished finally. No chance for Petrovic to stop that. The Gunners in a comfortable lead right there at the Emirates Stadium. Let's come to the Nigeria Premier Football League. Surprise for me was Remo Stars, and again Rangers, and to an extent Aimba. No disrespect to Sunshine Stars, but with the way the table was looking, Aimba needed to win, Remo Stars needed to win, and Rangers also needed to win. That's why, despite losing, Rangers are still on top of the table. And Aimba will be saying, if we had just picked a win against Sunshine Stars, it would have done a lot of changes to the table. It was a tough one for Rangers because Rivers United, as we have mentioned, need to get all the points that they can gather so that they can have some relevance on the league table. Live action going on now in the Premier League. That's why it's a live show. It's now Arsenal 5, Chelsea 0. Whew, what a rush right there at the Emirates Stadium. The Gunners red hot. They need to keep the chase going, and they're doing just that. Back to the Nigeria Premier Football League. I'm the one score another goal again, so I go back to that live game. But you see, it shows you how competitive the league is, because from Rangers that are on top of the league table to Katsina United that are 7th on the log, any of those teams can win from 1st to 7th, you know. So that's how competitive it is. Look at Shooting Stars, for instance. If they had done something against Athlan, it would have given them some level of prominence also on the league table. But as I said, Rivers United, any opportunity they get now to keep winning, they will take it. Shout out to Kwara United, back-to-back wins now, defeated Aqua United, and that has given them some prominence on the league table also. They're now 12th on the log. They seem to be looking safe now from any sort of relegation talk. I thought Aimba did just enough to pick a point on the road, but they would have been better off if they had gotten a win. And then we talked about Lobby Stars. Yes, I'm talking about Lobby Stars. This is the first time this season that Lobby Stars needed to win and didn't win. And now they also will be beating themselves, because if Lobby Stars had won that game that they drew against Bendel Insurance,
they'll be tied
have been
points
on top of the league table. But that didn't happen. So Rangers still stay stuck. And what you said, with 7 matches to go, it's a clear wake-up call to the Flying Antelopes now. Do you want to win this league? Look at Aimba, look at Remo Stars. They are all breathing down. So you need to start winning your games as best as you can, particularly when you travel away from home. That's what Aimba is doing. They didn't win, but they did not lose.
All right, it's a trend. I mean, you look at all the teams most likely winning their own games and trying to get. So now what's going to happen in the next 7 matches is, if you're playing away, you get your win. If you're playing at home, you get your win. And once you're playing away, it changes. I don't know which one of those teams have more at home and more. But we'll see. It's, like you said, it's going to be very, very interesting. And I do agree with Austin. Whoever is on top of the table at this point cannot rest, cannot breathe easy, because you don't know what's going to happen. People are breathing down your necks. All right, let's leave the guys and go to the ladies quickly before it looks like we're talking about only the guys. Let's talk about the ladies' final set of matches in the Nigeria Women Football League. There you have it. Tomorrow is when this will happen. Final league games in Group A. Conflex Queens up against Nasarawa Amazons. Danas Ladies up against Atlant Queens. Niger Rattles up against Abia Angels. And, of course, Adamawa Queens will trade tackles with Royal Queens. These are the final games for the ladies. Final league games in Group B, all to be played tomorrow, Wednesday, April 24. Remo Stars Ladies up against Sunshine Queens. Ekiti Queens up against Rivers Angels. Delta Queens up against Edo Queens. Bayelsa Queens with trade tackles. Slug it out. We do battle with FC Robo Queens. There you have it for the latest interesting matches. Damilola, maybe I should just allow you say a thing, but final matches will be played. You talked about it last week. One of the groups already decided, but the other group probably will be down to the wire.
Down to the wire it is. And again, we've had a very good season as far as the NWFL is concerned in terms of organization, in terms of the matches being completed, in terms of not having boardroom points, in terms of even having good away wins and away draws. But we need to do more in terms of the publicity of it. 2-3 seasons down the line, we were up there.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to something bigger. For some reason, over the last 2 seasons, the immediate pass and this one, there's been
the
dive is serious. It's so massive. It's like jumping from 100 to less than 25, in my own estimation. And that is not in any way trying to run anybody down. We're simply saying that let's maintain some level of momentum. I mean, the way we're going, it was difficult for me to think that at this point we'll not have serious sponsors for the Women League. But now we have to rejig again, to restart again, to reboot, and start getting
because they're not in our faces that they used to be.
For example, a particular group is going down to the wire on the final round of matches, and how many people are interested? How many people are talking about it? Not because people are not really interested, but because you are not propping up their interest in the games. And we can do better. That's all I would say. But in terms of the ability, the players, the coaches, the clubs, I think we've had a decent season so far.
All right, I agree with that. We've had a decent season. It's all been positive. Talking about the ladies. I mean, Austin, your 2 cents on the ladies. I think we should be hearing more. There's no drama. There's no issues. Damilola highlighted all of those things. I think that they're not getting into our faces as much as they should be doing.
Yes, I agree, but to some point, I think they've done the best that they could do, because I remember when Nkechi Obi and the new board came into play, they did a lot of talks around branding. They tried to carry the media along. We at Channel Sports, we can stand boldly anywhere and say we promote the league. Can the media in Nigeria say that 100%? Do they give it the sort of attention that's needed for people to, start following it? With television, we know how difficult it is. It doesn't get the sort of attention that the men's game gets. But the women's league has shown that it can actually command our attention, but more needs to be done. Corporate Nigeria needs to come in to assist. I mentioned the media. I think the NWFL also needs to come out with community engagement programs. People should understand what's going on with women's football. Tie it around causes, just like what we used to see with the Betsy Obaseki women's football competition. They always tie it around programs that even before the action, we're talking about it. I know that they know these things, but to put the game together in Nigeria comes with so much challenges. So let's just stay with the action that has gotten us talking all season. For instance, we knew that Group B, we go down the wire. We knew it was going to be competitive. And has it been? Oh, yes, it's been so competitive. And that's why it's just only Rivers Angels from that group that has qualified for the Super 6. It's going down the wire. We're waiting for 2 more teams to join them. From Group A, National Amazons, Confluence Queens, and Heartland Queens, they've already booked their spot to the Super 6. Edo Queens, they look good to qualify, but they must avoid defeat. At Delta Queens, that's a cracker of a match. Delta Queens are defending champions. That sort of game should get us talking. They should find one way or the other to, see how they can put it out there. If you can put it on live television, pump up, a lot of conversations on social media, YouTube, for you to do live streaming or something. I know some state governments are doing enough to put, these games out there. But as I said, the challenges are just enormous, So I'd like to see Bayelsa Queens also. What can they do? Because they also look good to advance with Edo Queens. But this is football where anything can happen. The FC for the ladies Robo Queens can turn up something that is extraordinary and just get us talking, So I agree, but I also think we should celebrate the women's game. Whenever we have an opportunity to talk about the women's game, it's a beautiful game. Let's talk about it, give them their flowers, push administrators to do some more, and hopefully the game will grow, Yemi.
All right, hopefully the game will grow. All right, let's talk about what's going to happen tomorrow in the English Premier League. I'm interested in talking about Manchester United As a journalist, I felt a pinch. Manchester United manager was interviewed. He said a few words. We'll get to that in a bit. But let's talk about matches we play tomorrow in the English Premier League, while Austin is still monitoring what is going on at the Emirates. Tomorrow, matches to be played in the English Premier League right there on your screen. Wolverhampton Wanderers will take on Bournemouth. Crystal Palace will take on Newcastle United. Everton will take on Liverpool. Manchester United will take on Sheffield United. Lola, I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying to keep a straight face. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag asked at a press conference about the semi-final, how he took them to the final, and he said, does he feel embarrassed with the way they ended? And he said it was the questions that the journalists were asking and how the journalists were talking about the situation that was embarrassing. So I'm sitting to myself and I'm looking, which one was embarrassing, how they played or how it was reported? So which one was embarrassing?
I think the only person in Manchester, the whole of Manchester, that wasn't embarrassed is Ten Hag. Honestly, that's not a dig at him. I'm laughing now. But I remember telling you on Friday
that they could lose.
That they could lose, and I won't be shocked. And so
it was pretty
I
close.
told you they could lose, and I won't be shocked. I think he modeled two things together. The whole reporting was as far as that game was concerned, not his tenure. But he started analyzing his tenure. And when you go to his tenure, truly, you really can't say he's had a bad time. I mean, 2 seasons now, or 3 seasons.
2 cup finals, 2 FA Cup finals, winning the Carabao Cup,
but then
qualifying for the Champions League.
Where Manchester United is coming from, qualifying for Champions League, I would bother not mention that because that should not be an achievement for Manchester United. I mean, that's the achievement the likes of Aston Villa should be celebrating, not Man U. It's a regular thing for Manchester. I mean, you would not hear...
Do you feel it comes to press conference these days with a built-up defense?
I think so.
Ready to go on the attack.
I agree with you, absolutely. And that's where it's becoming embarrassing because he's saying things that a Manchester United manager should not say. When the team didn't play well, I mean, you could see that the players struggled to celebrate it.
They couldn't
celebrate it, and the manager is
the only person who did was Rasmus Højlund.
Because the young man doesn't even understand the history of the club, in my view.
Let's go to Austin, who's in England, who probably has different perspective. I'm trying to keep a straight face, but hearing the words of Erik ten Hag, I agree with that. Like, he's probably the only person in Manchester who doesn't feel embarrassed. But it's not an attack on him, not an attack on his performance so far, just that game, but he's switching things up on the journalists.
I feel for him. I mean, the last time I was on the show, I told you that every presser is a difficulty for Ten Hag because he knows he will be attacked. He knows that the media will talk down on his players. But what do you expect? You know, it's like back home that we grew up, you know, hearing that parable that nobody will say the mom's food isn't delicious. You know, so this is the man in the center of the storm. He is the manager of the team. What do we expect him to come out to say that he's got a terrible team? I tell you this. Ten Hag was saying in another platform, I listened to him, and he said that people are crucifying his team. That what would they have done if they had truly lost that penalty shootout to Coventry? This is the FA Cup. We all know it's the upset cup where anything can happen. Was United shambolic? Yes. Have they been terrible all season? Yes. But they're going to play in the final of the FA Cup. And this is football where you blink, you start asking questions. They might just turn out to win the final game. And then everybody will start saying Manchester United has got another trophy in the cabinet under Erik ten Hag. And that might just give him more lifeline. But he cannot really understand what's going on because he knows the ability of his players. He sees them during training. Everything looks good. And then when he gets on the pitch, it just turns from good to bad and then to worse. Look at the game against Coventry. A comfortable 3-0 lead at a neutral ground. And then everything started falling apart. So what do we expect this man to come out to say? He has told us that his job at Manchester United is beyond managing a team. That is there to change the culture. He's there to try to revive what seems to have been dead or stop whatever is dying from dying. So I really feel for him. I mean, it's tough. Every day you put on the radio or you go on television to watch a football show, everyone is attacking Manchester United. But he said, but you just said something good. And I agree with Ten Hag. The day Harry Maguire is having a good game, why is he not celebrated? in the media. Just one game now, let Harry Maguire have just one bad game or score an own goal that is not unusual in football, everybody will start crucifying Maguire. And that's not good for the team. Before Marcus Hoyland started scoring Premier League goals, every pundit, everybody, oh, he has not scored, he has not scored. Then Ten Hag said when he started scoring, who was praising him? Let's just act like we don't know that this English Premier League is tough. When Torres came to the league, he was the top striker. He was on fire. He struggled in this Premier League. That's what it is. So let's cut Eric Ten Hag some slack. I think he's doing what he has to do in a very difficult situation. And as I said, everybody will cover their hands in shame if Manchester United goes on to win the FA Cup.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see. But I like the way he switches up things. I mean, I don't agree with the part that he's doing a good job. Personal opinion here. All right, that overshadowed the Merseyside derby that we should have been talking about. Jurgen Klopp. I mean, Damilola quickly. This game takes another dimension for him. He wants to live on a high. He would love to win the league, but it's not in his hands. Now he's faced an Everton that are fighting for their lives, and it's very dangerous to play a team fighting for survival.
Well, it's a derby, but it's a game that I expect Liverpool to win. It's a game that I expect to turn out like the Arsenal-Chelsea game is turning out. This game, I expect it to be a lot more easier for Liverpool than Arsenal-Chelsea is turning out for the Gunners. This is where I'll be surprised if they don't win.
Wow.
I don't see what's so special about Everton. I think Liverpool should walk over them tomorrow, honestly.
I've agreed with you all day, but on this one, I'm not sure. Well, let me switch to us. It's probably going to be our party shot, and Austin's going to say a few things. I mean, look, it's not good to play against a team that don't want to go down. Sean Dyche, as a manager, seems to know how to play this kind of games. And even against Fulham, I thought Liverpool were rattled at some point. At some point, I thought they were rattled, even though they handled everything well after the equalizer. Your thoughts on this one? Damilola says it's going to be easy the way Arsenal is hammering Chelsea. It's going to be easy for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. Same fashion.
I don't think so. You know, Damilola, I tried to warn you against Real Madrid and Barcelona. You saw how that one turned out. Yes, it was looking like Real Madrid was going to get it from the start. But look at how they worked. Barcelona actually made them work. And the difference was because it's the El Clasico. Look at the way Everton stayed focused to beat Nottingham Forest. They need all the points that they can get now. And this is the Merseyside derby. Whether or not we agree, Liverpool, yes, they are the better side, but pressure is on Liverpool. Let's not forget that. Now, Arsenal, with a big win against Chelsea, Liverpool look at this scoreline tonight and maybe think about it once or twice, and then tomorrow it might just bother them because they will go with all the media saying, oh, man, Arsenal back on top of the league table, Arsenal pushing Liverpool, Manchester City to the end of the season. This is the Merseyside derby. And Everton, they are in a very difficult situation where if you push them, they are already on the ground. They'll ask you, where else do you want us to go? So they might just spoil things for you. But let's just wait to see. It's football where anything can happen. And with derbies, you never say never. That's the show. I'm still monitoring what's going on between Arsenal and Chelsea. It's Arsenal 5, Chelsea 0. Fantastic 5 display for the Gunners. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Before we go to things quickly, Unai Emery has extended his contract with Aston Villa. We just thought I should let you know that before we go. Damilola, Father, I want to thank you for your time on the show today.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Fantastic day.
All right. Hopefully we'll do this again.
Hopefully.
All right. We're going to leave you with comments of Jurgen Klopp. And, of course, you see us again tomorrow.
I wouldn't say it's straightforward, but too specific. I think until 2 weeks ago, everything was probably better than anybody would have expected. And then you have this week where the performances were not as bad as the results felt afterwards. We had a little bit before that, we had one of the best games we played against United, but we lost it. in the FA Cup, which is really strange, but it was. We never dominated United as we did there, and didn't win it. And that's where things a little bit started, and why we don't score enough, stuff like this. If you look at our numbers, yes, there are two teams who scored more goals than us, but it's not like they scored 50 goals more than us. So it's actually everything all right. It's always about how you can get the right feeling again for the situation and for the next game and these kind of things. And we usually do that. So I'm really happy now with the response. And then it's always like that. And you win at Atalanta. Yes, it was not enough to go through, but we still won there. But it feels like that doesn't count. You won a football game, you work now 100 minutes, your socks off, you won it, and it's like, yeah, but then you win 3-1 at Fulham. And I heard people saying, it was not really good or whatever, just Fulham was not good. I thought, my God, I wish you would play again a Premier League game or just feel the intensity of these kind of challenges, all these kind of things. So I'm very positive. I'm really, and not in a strange way where I want to see things brighter than they are. But I know this is the last part of the season. It's not about playing the freshest football of the whole year. That would be strange if that works out with the schedule all the teams had.